Angry MGTOW here. My cock hurts. Today we're discussing why Donald Trump is the worst nightmare of feminist white women. Donald Trump is the worst nightmare of feminist white women for a multitude of reasons. They called him misogynistic. They called him sexist, racist. They called him everything, and then 53% of all white women, and pretty much the majority of white women with any actual spending power, because it was majority the Generation Xers and baby boomers who voted for him. They voted him in. And Donald Trump is the worst nightmare of white women. He's the worst nightmare, specifically millennial white women who grew up in their safe spaces, who grew up thinking that the world owed them something. He is their worst nightmare. Let's go ahead and watch a classic, shall we, boys? Let's go ahead and watch a classic together.
She used to be great. She's still very beautiful. I moved on her, actually. You know, she was down in Palm Beach. I moved on her, and I failed. I'll admit it.
Whoa.
I did try and fuck her. She was married.
Huge news there.
No, Nancy. Yeah. No, this was marriages. And I moved on her very heavily. In fact, I took her out furniture.
So this has happened last year, where they revealed a tape that supposedly was made about 10 years ago, where Donald Trump discusses trying to fuck the co-host of, I think it was like Inside Edition, and he is openly talking about, when he tried to fuck her, how he tried to fuck her. Let's keep listening, because this guy's now president.
Shopping. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where there's some nice furniture. I took out furniture. I moved on her like a bitch. I couldn't get there, and she was married. And all of a sudden, I see her. She's now.
You gotta love this guy. So they say that this actually happened. He actually did this. This was made back when this video was supposedly made back when he was still in. He was dating or married to Melania, which is hilarious. He was either dating or married to Melania when this video was made, because their son is. This was 10 years ago, and their son is 10. So realistically, he was probably married to her by that point when you think about it. And he was out doing this.
Got the big phony tits and everything. She's totally changed her look.
Jeez, your girl's hot as shit. In the purple.
Whoa!
Yes!
Whoa!
Yes, the Donald is good!
You see that? That's Billy Bush. And everyone everyone respects an alpha male. Everyone respects a fucking alpha male. They respect a man that stands up for himself. A man that's not afraid to grab some pussy.
Oh, my man! Wait, you gotta look at me when you got
Sets this up.
That is very.
You give me the thumbs up.
You are a piece.
You gotta put the thumbs up. You gotta get the thumbs up. Can't be too happy.
Else off first? Yeah, let me.
It's very funny.
You gotta give me the thumbs up.
You and I will walk in.
Oh my god.
Maybe it's a different one.
Better not be the publicist. No, it's her.
Yeah, that's it, with the gold. I gotta use some Tic Tacs just in case I start kissing her. You know, I'm automatically attracted to beautiful. I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet.
You see, this is the guy that's president right now. Like I said, this is the same guy that would go into the dressing room of the Miss America pageant or / Miss Universe pageant, and he would look at these women while they were butt naked, get them to stand up, turn around, and then he would rate them on a scale next to his daughter Ivanka, which to Howard Stern, he made it quite clear is a piece of ass. Piece of ass. Alright? He thinks of his own daughter as a piece of ass. Piece of ass. He, in fact, Donald Trump said on The View that if he was not Ivanka's father, he'd probably be dating her. Just think about that very carefully. Think about that very, very carefully. This is the guy who's president now. And he is their worst nightmare because he's telling them, one, you gotta get off welfare. Two, you gotta either find yourself a man or find yourself a job. People are saying, I see a lot of guys saying, oh, Donald Trump he's a traditionalist, he's a feminist. You know, okay, so this thing happened recently. There was this thing in the news where he signed 2 executive orders essentially saying that he wants to encourage women to enter STEM. One of them was to encourage women to enter STEM, and basically every year NASA will have to report back to Congress to let them know how they've done what they've done. Keep in mind, encourage women to enter STEM. These are not gender quotas like that we've seen under the Obama administration. Oh, no. Trump is laying the groundwork for something big. He is laying the groundwork to yank welfare and social programs away from women. And he's literally creating an environment where there's going to be all this propaganda spewing that, oh, women can now be engineers. Women can now work at NASA. Sure they can. They can answer the telephones. But essentially, once he sets up a system that says that he's actually trying to help women, these programs do absolutely nothing. The executive order does literally nothing. Does absolutely nothing other than make it appear that he actually gives a fuck, which he doesn't. And by doing this, he'll point to these things when welfare gets cut. And he said about 2 weeks ago, it's time for Americans to get off welfare. The vast majority of all Americans on welfare are women, because men can't get that shit. So, think about that very carefully. He's saying it's time for women to get off welfare. He said it's time for Americans to get off welfare and get back to work. In other words, it's time for women to get off welfare, get a job, or find a man, but the government is no longer going to flip the bill.
I don't even wait. Hey, when you're a star, they'll let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab him by the pussy. I can do anything.
Did you hear what he just said? When you're a star, they'll let you do it. You can do anything. Grab them by the pussy. You can do anything. There you go. There you go. Grab them by the pussy. And he's the president now. He's the president. 53% of white women voted for Donald Trump, and the 53% that voted for him were the baby boomer women and some of the Generation Xers. Think about that very carefully, guys. They're the ones with the spending power. Millennial women are poor, extremely poor, way poorer than millennial men. There are some people who are going to say, well, there's a lot of millennial women out-earning millennial men. There was, and it's not the truth. It's not the case. Women work fewer hours, which is why they cry over this bullshit wage gap. Do you know there's a lot of women who out-earn men? They get paid more than men. But because men work more hours, they record more earnings at the end of the year. Men work longer, harder, even getting paid less per hour. Still make more because they work like slaves, and women call that inequality because they can't work as hard as men. But they don't want to say it. They don't want to come outright and say it that they cannot work as hard as a man. They do not want to work as hard as a man, but they want to have the same outcome as a man. But they don't want to be treated like men. They want everything that men accomplish to be handed to them. But they don't want the special punishments that come with being a man that they also force upon men. A woman's greatest nightmare is about to take root. Women are about to find themselves entering a time in history where social welfare programs will vanish, where rampant homelessness will occur. Millennial women are going to be shit out of luck as they find themselves unable to make ends meet, unable to even afford the basics of living, the basic necessities. And this is something that they did to themselves. They created this mess for themselves, and they have no one else to blame but themselves. Donald Trump is the worst nightmare of feminist white women because he doesn't give a damn. I remember when a woman stood up and she asked Donald Trump under his administration, will he ensure that women get paid the same amount as men? And he looked at her and he said, if they do as good a job. And her mouth dropped. You think this guy is going to start giving out freebies? Is going to start pushing traditionalism? Women will hope for traditionalism. They will beg for traditionalism. They won't get it. Prostitution will make a big comeback. It will be rampant. Pussy will be very cheap. We're talking about something like $20 an hour, maybe less. Let's not forget, in Greece right now, you can fuck an 18-year-old for €2, the cost of a cheese sandwich. That's how bad times are there right now. And it's going to get that worse. It's going to get that bad here in America. A lot of people are listening to me. First off, I made these predictions. I said that Trump was going to cut welfare. No one listened to me. And then he very clearly came out and said, time for Americans to get off welfare. I've been calling it. A lot of people don't believe it because they've lived in the gynocracy and the matrix for so long that they don't think anything can change. But you don't realize that all of these things have been happening around us and we've been asleep all the time. There's so much shit that has happened, we don't even know about it. We don't even realize how bad things have gotten. Many of us don't even know what the old days were like. We don't know what it actually meant to be free because we weren't even born back then. We were born into modern day slavery. Many of us were. Nothing lasts forever. Martin Luther King, this is a quote. I forget if Reagan was the one who recited this quote. It was by Martin Luther King, and Martin Luther King said, no oppressed group of people can remain oppressed forever. You cannot tell me one group of people in the history of the world that were once oppressed by another group that have remained indefinitely oppressed. There is no such thing. Someone made a really great argument not too long ago regarding slavery. How African Americans always say that slavery specifically affects them, when in reality, slavery has been something that has been happening throughout the history of the world. And then the practice becomes outlawed and banned. As socioeconomics and cultural changes result in these practices coming to an end. But in the case of men, society is built upon the backbones of men. Society is built upon the blood, sweat, and tears of men. When you demonize, alienate, and mentally castrate the group that's providing everything, what do you think is going to happen? A lot of guys say, even if the government cuts off welfare, even if the government cuts welfare off, there are going to be men that take care of these women. You guys are foolish. You guys are foolish. There are men who will have sex with them. They are not going to be able to take care of them. There will be rampant numbers of homeless women. I had a bit of Brit on, and she talked about the fact that she doesn't believe that most women have the ability to get their shit together and to survive on their own. She said that she joked about giving a homeless Milo Stewart, that's the transgender lunatic, the middle finger. There are a number of other women that I've spoken to who said it, that all these women are going to end up homeless. Why is it that a lot of you can't understand? Other women are telling you that these women are going to end up homeless, but you seem to think that these women are so privileged that it can never happen to them. Let me tell you something, guys. There's a saying, if you live in a glass house, don't throw stones. Women live in glass houses and have been throwing rocks at us for so long, and now their house is going to come crumbling down on them. When the glass ceiling caves in on them, they're going to cry because they're going to say, this is not what we meant through breaking through the glass ceiling. And shards of glass tear them to pieces.
Those legs, all I can see is the legs.
No, it looks good.
Come on, shorty.
Oh, nice legs, huh?
Oof, get out of the way, honey. That's good legs.
Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. Listen to him. Nice legs. Get out of the way, honey. Oh, that's good legs. Go ahead. You see that? This is what these old men are like. And you know what's funny? As shit collapses, all these pathetic millennial women are going to go looking for sugar daddies like Donald Trump. 50-year-old men, 60-year-old men that save their assets, that save their resources. They're going to go hunting for these old men, trying to ride the old cock carousel, hoping that these men will take care of them and become their sugar daddies. And I'll tell you something about these old men. The ones that actually do deal with them, they'll basically pump them and tell them to keep their mouths closed. If you haven't looked around, young men, when I say young men, I don't mean guys my age that are 33. I'm talking about the 15 and 16-year-old guys. They increasingly are swearing off women. Younger men are increasingly going MGTOW, even without ever hearing of MGTOW. When the kids start doing it, that's when society really gets afraid. Think about it. The millennials are the future. We're the ones who are supposed to have kids now. The upcoming generation, Generation Z, they're the generation that are going to provide kids after us. But if the trend stops, if we're not having kids and the upcoming generation isn't having kids, because they say girls suck and we don't want to have anything to do with them, it spells a significant amount of doom and gloom for 2 generations of women who will find themselves fucked with very few options in between. And life has never been easy for men. Women don't know how to save. They don't know how to save. They don't know how to put money away. I look at the way a lot of these women live, and all I can do is shake my head because they want to live in luxury that they cannot even afford.
Go ahead.
It's always good if you don't fall out of the bus. Like Ford, Gerald Ford, remember?
Down below. Pull the hand.
Hello, how are you? Hi.
Trump, how
nice
are
seeing
you?
you. Terrific.
Pleasure to meet you.
Terrific. You know Billy Bush?
How are you?
Nice to see you. How you doing,
Very
Ariane?
good.
I'm doing very well, thank you. Are you ready to be a soap star?
We're ready. Let's go. Make me a soap star.
How about a little hug for the Donald? He just got off the
Is it
bus.
like a little hug,
Okay,
darling?
absolutely. Melania said this was
I
okay.
just got off the bus.
Okay, now here's the funny. Did you hear what he just said? Melania said this was okay. Holy cow! I was absolutely right. I was absolutely right. He was doing this while he was with Melania. He was married to Melania when he was doing this. Unbelievable, all right? He was out grabbing pussy. You heard him. Anytime I see a beautiful woman, I just want to give him a kiss. This guy is still fucking other women. This guy's still fucking other women. You think he's just fucking Melania? You gotta be out of your minds. He's fucking whoever the hell he wants to. This is the guy that's president right now. Yeah, this is some male feminist. Sure. Let me go ahead and get that unmuted.
There you go. Excellent. Well, you've got a nice... There you go. Excellent. Push it. There we go. Excellent. Well, you've got a nice co-star here.
Good.
Yes, absolutely.
After you. Come on, Billy. Don't be shy.
As soon as a beautiful woman shows up, he takes
Get over
off
here,
on.
Billy.
He's always happy.
I'm sorry. Come here.
Let the little guy in there. Come
Yeah,
on.
let the little guy in. How you feel now? Better? I should actually.
It's hard to walk next to a guy like
Here, wait,
this.
hold on.
Yeah, you get in the middle. There we go.
Good. That's
This is
better.
much better. This is.
That's better.
Now, if you had to choose, honestly, between one of us, me or the Donald.
No. That's
That's
tough
some pressure
competition.
right
Yeah.
Seriously, you had to take one of us as a date.
I have to take the fifth on that one.
Really?
Yeah, do you see that? Look at Donald's face. Guys, I want you to look at his face. I just paused the screen. Look at his face. Look at his face. He knows poor Billy doesn't even have a shot. Oh gosh. And look at this woman. Look at her walking around in this little skirt, acting like, you know, this is how women are. This is how women are. That's how they are, guys. Oh my gosh.
Yep, I'll take both.
Which way?
Make it right. Here we go. Goodbye. Right in the days.
Here he goes. I'm gonna leave you here.
Okay.
Get my microphone.
Okay. You're gonna. Oh, you're finished?
You're my man. Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm gonna go do our show.
Oh, you want to reset? Okay.
All right. I told you guys. I told you this was happening. This is the guy who's president. This is the guy who represents us. And this is the guy who is going to tear feminism a new asshole. Donald Trump is the worst nightmare of feminist white women because Donald Trump isn't taking their shit. Most of the women who are collecting welfare, who are getting these government programs, they're overweight, they're lazy, and they're women that Donald Trump would not find attractive. Let's be very honest. These are the women that he will happily watch go onto the street. He'll let them go homeless. You think Donald Trump won't allow them to be homeless? You've got something else coming. The shit is about to hit the fan. Nothing lasts forever. And the oppression of men in the West is collapsing. And as it collapses, as shit hits the fan, women will have fewer to no options. There will always be men that want to pump them, but they'll dump them. The selection of actual good men that want to marry them is becoming slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. You know, they talk about natural selection. And what we're seeing here is just that. Women are weak. They are not strong. And let me tell you something about these feminist white women. I don't talk about black women very often because black women are pretty much shit out of luck. They've basically destroyed their communities. They've destroyed the lives of their men. They have destroyed the lives of their men. White men white men overall want white women. It's not racist to say it, it's true. Most white men would like to be in a relationship with white women. Saying that you're a white male who wants to be in a relationship with a white female or is attracted to a white female doesn't make you racist. So black women are shit out of luck. They've destroyed their men. They've destroyed their communities using single motherhood. They have nowhere to turn. they're going to be homeless, they're going to be in shelters, their lives are fucked. But don't forget that black women only make up something like 6.5% of the population. That also includes mixed-race women. So black women make up a very, very small portion of the population. So this is going to really affect white women. That's where we're going to see the downturn, when white women cannot find men who want to be in relationships with them, men who will provide good, abundant resources to them. That is a major sticking point. That is where the biggest social change shall happen. And people think that, oh, well, if there are too many women who are homeless, there'll be a social outcry and they'll have to start raising taxes again to restart these government programs. You're out of your fucking minds. You are out of your fucking minds, guys. Millennial women won't have Social Security. They won't have any of these programs. Do you know what I honestly see Donald Trump doing? The entitlement programs, he's going to basically put a cap on them. So essentially, only the old people are going to be collecting anything. We already know that millennial women will never see Social Security, but they're also going to not see welfare and social entitlement programs. All the freebies that they're given, all that shit is going and soon to be gone. And as it goes, they will have nowhere to turn. I make videos about women living in vans and their cars. There are going to be an increasing number of those women who live in them until those cars get repossessed. And then many of them will be homeless. This is the established future for women in society. They made their beds and they are going to have to lay in them. Nothing lasts forever. And here's the thing, as men are focusing less on women and focusing on themselves, we'll be stashing away wealth. I remember MGTOW posted in the comments that his aunt made $140,000 a year. He makes $40,000 a year. He has more in savings than she does. Think about that carefully. She makes $140,000 a year. $100,000 more than him. He has more in savings than she does. How often do we hear stories about rappers who paid child support? Or musicians who paid child support for decades? And then the kid hits 18. The child support payments end. They've paid millions of dollars. You heard me. Millions of dollars to these women over the course of 2 decades almost. And then these women are flat broke. They have nothing. No home, no car, nothing. And the child that they were paying for all these years, there's nothing for them. What happened to all of that money? What happened to the millions of dollars paid to these women that was untaxed? That was untaxed, paid to them untaxed. What happened to all of that money? They spent it on luxury. There is no way they could have spent it all on the child. No way. They spent it on luxury. They basically, and this is the funny thing about that. You see, the child support money wasn't enough for them. So if they were getting $100,000 a year in child support, they were spending $200,000 a year. How? By purchasing homes they couldn't afford. By purchasing cars they couldn't afford. I remember a MGTOW named Not Sure. He was a millionaire. A lot of people don't know that Not Sure was a millionaire, making $1 million a year. And the courts came after him when he got a divorce, when his wife divorced him. She got the house, She got half of the business, so what she did was he had to sell the trucks that he was using within the business to pay her that value from the business that she was entitled to. And when he did that, he could no longer run the business. Also, because he was making $1 million a year, think about that carefully, she was entitled to 25% of that on tax. But keep in mind, if you make $1 million a year, after you pay taxes, about half of that goes in taxes. So you're not actually making $1 million, you're making closer to $500,000, $600,000 a year. But they're going to tax you based on the $1 million estimate. So 25% of $1 million is $250,000, even if you're only pulling in reality $500,000 after taxes come out of it. But the woman doesn't pay taxes on her portion. The father does. So that means that he's not only paying he's paying taxes, her taxes as well. So he ends up with even less. And don't forget, he had multiple children with her. So he was being charged child support per child. Per child. 3 kids, I believe. So child support for each one of them. So he ended up owing more child support than he was actually making. And they took everything. And when she took everything, she went out and he told me she bought fancy sports cars. She bought bought a car for her boyfriend, if I remember correctly. She burnt through all of it. All of it. And now, she's so poor that the courts are going to allow the children to go live with him. Because she is so poor. She had the kids. She ran everything into the ground. She literally put him on the street, left him as homeless. She wrecked his life. And after all of that, after all the money she took from him, she had nothing to show for it. And now he still has to take care of the kids in the end. That's the world that we live in. That's feminism. That shit is about to come to an end. And let me say this. There are so many men with animosity towards the women who destroyed their lives. Don't think that animosity is going anywhere. Because after all the lies that women have told for decades, for the last 50, 60 years, after all the lives that have been destroyed, women are going to say, can't we all just get along? And the answer is going to be no. There won't be any sympathy for these women. There won't be anyone standing up. And the manginas may try to plead for them, but the manginas will just be beaten down and silenced. Because when they are homeless and hungry, let me tell you something about being homeless and hungry. Do you think the police always come whenever a woman's being raped? No, they don't. That's a complete lie. When I was homeless, women could scream for hours, and the cops never came. Rapes can happen right out there, and the cops don't come. That's how the world really works. Women think that the cops are there. The cops will always be there to protect them. No, the cops are there to protect people of value. Homeless women, do they have more privilege than men? Of course they do, because they're women. But when they're out there homeless, they don't get the same care. Cops will leave them there. They'll come later on, after everything has happened. You think they want to get their hands dirty? No. No. Bum fights. When you see these bum fights on the internet, don't you ever wonder where the cops are? Why are they breaking this stuff up? Because they don't give a fuck. Women are going to find themselves being abused and victimized as shit hits the fan. And the bastards of single mothers are going to attack women. They'll go after them. The predators will go after them. And no one will go to their rescue. And after generations of lying and crying wolf, they are fucked. Because no one is going to believe them anymore. No one is going to even care. And the women who actually do survive, there will be some women who survive, they are not going to glance upon these women. Women don't care about each other. When I had OK Britt on, she talked about the fact that women don't care about each other. There is no sisterhood. I referred to women as her sisters. I said, you're just going to leave your sisters homeless on the street? She goes, they are not my sisters. There is no sisterhood. It's a lie. It's one big lie. And as women, when shit hits the fan and women are suffering on the street, that's when other women are going to tuck their resources in even more. Why do you think women like a bit of Brit are at home cooking for their significant others? A bit of Brit. What's her name? Blonde in the belly of the beast. All of these women are cooking for their boyfriends. They're at home taking care of them, trying to become the housewife right now. Because they see the writing on the wall. They see the writing on the wall. They don't give a damn about the livelihood of other women. All they care about is their own survival. That is women for you. And it's going to be hilarious watching other women stepping over homeless women as they're suffering. And these women thinking, but we're sisters. No, we're not. It's men that have always come to the rescue of women. It's men who have always had empathy towards women, but no more. And the manginas that'll weep and moan, they'll be on the streets as well. The only people who are going to survive in this new place, in this new world, are going to be the MGTOW. Men going their own way. Men who can create resources. Men who can actually stand up and do something. Think for themselves. Provide for themselves. Not be a burden to others. Not need the government to hold their dicks for them. Those are the men who are going to survive. The manginas are on their way out. The age of the mangina is almost over, along with the age of the feminists, and we are entering the post-feminist era, which is the age of the MGTOW. And in the age of the MGTOW, either you take care of yourself or you're shit out of luck. Feminism was never about equality. Feminism was about giving women special privileges and men special punishments. And it went on for over 50 fucking years. But now it's coming to an end. And now us men are rising up. And we are taking back our masculinity. And we are taking back our freedom. And we are taking back our world. We are reclaiming our lives. We are reclaiming our passions. As we go our own way. As we find freedom, as we find happiness, as we choose the path that we want to choose that does not include a woman. Because a woman is not in any way essential to our happiness. And a guy like Donald Trump is only leading the charge. He's only leading the charge as women lose options, as women lose welfare, as gynocentrism begins to dissipate. You see, gynocentrism can only thrive in a society of abundance. But when society no longer has rampant abundance through entitlement, as entitlements dry up, abundance dries up. As abundance dries up, feminism dries up. You want to get rid of gynocentrism? Get rid of abundance. Get rid of entitlements. You don't work, you don't eat. If you're a woman and you don't work, then you better have a man to provide for you. I talked about the fact that all these so-called lesbians are going to suddenly decide that they want a man. As soon as shit hits the fan, all these so-called lesbians are going to suddenly turn straight. They're going to go straight and narrow. I can't wait to watch all of this happen. I'm going to wallow in it as I see the same cunts who fucked up my life begging, pleading with men just for a few dollars, a place to sleep, protection. It's gonna feel good. And those that don't think it's coming, you're shit out of luck, because you should be preparing. Nothing lasts forever. I've already said it, that 2017 is the year feminism dies, and 2018 is the year they don't know they're dead, and 2019 is the year that everyone tries to pretend feminism never happened, and 2020 is the year Trump will be re-elected as the President of the United States. We are reclaiming our world. We are reclaiming our lives as men. You know, women will cry. Very soon, a woman will start to cry if you joke about even leaving them. Think I'm joking? A woman who's in a relationship with a man, very soon, if a man even jokes about leaving them, they will cry. Because as gynocentrism starts to go downhill, entitlements go downhill, privilege goes downhill, and the value of women in society goes downhill. Let me tell you guys something. As a woman's sexual marketplace value becomes cheaper, so does her perceived value in society. Think about that carefully. So if we ever end up in a society, anything close to the Greeks, where we have sex being sold for a few dollars by teenagers, this will essentially show just how worthless women are and how they have nothing of actual value. Their vaginas are of very little value, which will only prove more that their social value is minute. That's the society that we're in. That's the direction that we're headed in. I know many of you have lived through the darkest nights, through the darkest days in the gynocracy. But dawn is coming, brothers. Dawn is coming. The sun will soon arise to a new day. A day where the MGTOW will walk free and proud. A day where the MGTOW will reclaim their lives as we are doing. A day where women will beg for help. And the answer won't even be a no. It'll just be silence, because we won't even see or hear them anymore. The worst thing that can happen to a woman is to be completely ignored, because that means that she's now been ostracized. And once she's been ostracized from her community, from society, then her ability to survive goes down significantly. That is where modern women have placed themselves. That is the future. We are now entering that future. So watch in the coming days, in the coming months. Celebrity feminism is dying by the wayside. And as feminism is no longer marketable, companies will not only make a shift away from it, but they will also begin to feel afraid of their previous past of alienating men. Do you guys not realize that the future people with major disposable income is not women, it's men? Think about it. Those with the most disposable income in the future will be men, because we'll be working the most hours. We'll be the ones that are finding jobs. The low-paying jobs, the simple jobs, the easiest jobs are completely disappearing. Cashiers are disappearing. Bank tellers are disappearing. These jobs are vanishing. And the pay isn't going up, it's actually going down, while the requirements to get these jobs is going up. You want to work at a bank now while processing loans? Need a bachelor's degree. And welcome to $13 an hour. Did you guys know that the median salary for millennials in the United States, median salary for millennials, was actually released recently? And the median salary they found was about $13 an hour right now. In 2013, the median salary per year was around $30,000 a year, which was close to $15 an hour. The median salary over the last 3 years has actually decreased among 16 to 20-year-olds to now about $26,000 a year. While the median salary, the average salary for people in the 1980s, our parents, in the 1980s, in the same age group between 16 and 34, the median salary for people in that age group was $40,000 a year. Want to know something more interesting? The median salary for women is actually $5,000 less than the median salary for men. Meaning that millennial women, on average, are making about $21,000 a year compared to their male counterparts that are making about the $26,000 a year, somewhere around there. In other words, they're making significantly less than their male counterparts. Significantly less than their male counterparts. What do you guys think about that? And as the cashier jobs vanish, as lower paying jobs vanish, these women won't have jobs. They're going to look for men and they won't be able to find any. Way to go, feminism! Whoa! They have created the perfect storm. And the storm is here. And it's raging. And it's going to wreak havoc. And all I can say is good. And the male anger from watching their lives destroyed, they're not going to help these women. They're not going to come to their rescue. They're going to continue saving their money. And the effeminate, broken men, they'll just play their video games. That's what's going to happen. You see, that's the funny thing about women. You give a woman some money. Give her $100. Give a homeless woman $100. She'll take that $100 and probably use it to get her hair done. Give a woman $100. Give a homeless woman $100. She'll probably take that $100 and use it to get her hair done. Give a homeless man $100. He may use that $100 to go to the second-hand store to buy some clothing. He may use that $100 to buy a razor so that he can shave his face. He may use that $100 to buy water and some food so that he's better nourished. He may use that $100 to work towards getting off the street, or at the very least, providing nutrition for himself for at least a couple of days using that $100. He will save as much of it as he can from day to day, while the woman will spend that $100 in a single day. And in her mind, getting her hair done as a homeless woman made sense. Now do you get it? Women create nothing of value. They just spend money in useless ways. They don't pump money into the economy. They're not investing money in the economy. They're not investing their money in areas of real growth that create real jobs and things of value. Think about that carefully. You look at men's clothing and women's clothing. I buy a shirt, I'm gonna wear the fuck out of that shirt. A woman buys a shirt, she buys a new dress. She may wear it once or twice. That's women for you. Because they don't know how to spend. Those are things that have to be left to a man. That's why men have always been in control of the household and budgets. That's why women are so poor. And in this new economy, women will not be able to dig themselves out of this because they do not know how to control their spending and live on less. It will never happen. It will guys, when I was homeless, there was this woman. She would get a check every month for over $800 from Social Security. She would get a check every month for Social Security for over $800. She also had a bus pass, which gave her free, you heard me, free passage on the transit. So she could travel for free on the buses, everything. She didn't have to pay for transportation per month. So while everyone else is spending $100 a month in bus and train fare, she was traveling for free. So think about that. Bus pass, she could travel for free. That's $100. $800 a month at minimum. In Social Security, it was a little more than $800, but she's really receiving that's about $900 right there. And on top of it, there were probably all kinds of other things that she was getting as well. Now I want to tell you something. She had been homeless for 2 years. In the time that I knew this woman, maybe about 6 months, she always had her hair done and her nails done. She was always wearing clean and fresh clothing. How is this possible? Instead of getting a place to live, hear me, friends, instead of getting a place to live, she preferred to go to the nail salon, to go to the hairdresser, to get her hair done, to get her nails done, to buy brand new clothing, which she then stored away in a storage provided for homeless people, and keep living off the dime of someone else. There you go. She would rather be homeless to maintain her vanity than to have a roof over her head and to have to compromise with wearing the same clothes every day and actually having to make sacrifices. She's not exclusive. When I was homeless, there were a lot of homeless women getting benefits. But they preferred to be homeless. They preferred to be homeless and to keep living that lifestyle and doing whatever they wanted to do with that money versus actually having a home. That's women for you. When I had a bit of Brit on, she talked about it, that a lot of these women are buying useless shit. That's why they're still living in cars. You think this is a game? These women have storage lockers. Storage lockers where they are packing away all that useless shit. Feminism has been the worst nightmare for women. It's left them with a future of disillusion. A future where there will be no abundance. A future where entitlements are all gone. And where men are not taking care of them anymore. They will wish for the days of the 1960s housewife to return, but it won't. It's never coming back. The golden age is never coming back. It's going to be hilarious watching them. Women who grew up, 3 generations of women who grew up on welfare and now can't even make ends meet because it's all gone. There's no more for anyone. And that's good. Because they made that bed for themselves. They made it for themselves, and now they'll have to lay in the beds that they made. They will have to lay in the shit that they have created. And don't expect anyone to feel sorry for them, because no one will. No one will feel sorry for these women. No one will feel sorry for their situation. No one will feel sorry for the fact that they are having a hard time surviving now because they did it to themselves. And let me tell you something. The men who actually still give a damn about them, these men are the ones who are in complete denial. They won't be able to help them. They'll be dying. And let me tell you something, after being homeless, when hunger starts to set in, it's a real bitch. Hunger is a real bitch. It changes the way you think. It changes the way you operate. It changes the way you feel. It changes the way you do things. Hunger changes you. I want you guys to understand that. Hunger changes you. And it's going to have a great change on women. They're going to suddenly start picking at each other, going after each other. Like I said, women who are still in relationships with the men, if the men even joke about leaving them, they will break out into excessive crying and yells, shrieks, saying, "Don't ever make that joke. Don't joke about that," because at that point they realize if they lose that man, then the chance of them getting another one are quite slim. Women made this bed for themselves and they're going to have to lay in it. They stocked a pile of shit and now they're going to have to get into that pile of shit. And there's no going back. There's no going back for women. There's no changing what they've done. They reap what they sow, and that is what they will now have to deal with. That is what they'll find themselves with. That is the situation. As their welfare and entitlements dissipate, they'll lose it all. And there won't be anyone to bail them out. We're entering a new age. As I said, guys, the age of the MGTOW, and it feels good. If you feel good, let me know in the comments. Because it feels fucking good. Just want to remind you guys, I make 3 of these videos every single day, so please consider becoming a Patreon by clicking on the Patreon link on my YouTube homepage. And you can also find it in the description of the video, of any of my videos. When in this video, when you do so, you can become a Patreon for as little as $5. There are a bunch of exclusive videos also on my Patreon, tons of great rewards, and Patreon helps to ensure that I can continue making this content. I can't make it without you, so definitely please consider becoming a patron. Also, never miss another Angry MGTOW video ever again by enabling notifications. You can click on the notification button below any of the videos next to the subscribe button. When you click on it, you'll see a pop-up that says send me all notifications for this channel. And just check the box, hit save. If you've done it already, you don't have to do it again. And once you've done this, you will always receive the notification whenever I'm streaming or whenever I put out a new video in general. Let me know. Let me know if you agree that Donald Trump is the worst nightmare for feminist white women, because as entitlements go, as welfare goes, they will literally starve. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Like, share, subscribe. And if you liked the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MGTOW or death. And cheers. That was a good fucking video.